of one man who persuaded his friends to watch every Godzilla movie ever made. This world is on the brink of destruction. We need you now, Godzillavangelists! Godzillavangelists, a Geek Stew Network podcast, produced and hosted by Ryan Sargent, featuring Sam Schlenker and Joanna Brodecki. So Sam, let's say that you were on a flight to Cairo and you're a super misogynistic, kind of racist, and just like generally stuck up American reporter. What would you do if you had just a brief layover in Tokyo?
Honestly, I think I would sleepwalk my way through some horrifying events. And then I'd smoke my pipe and tell a local Japanese person they have had too much sake.
Ding, ding, ding. Absolutely 100% correct. And Joanna, as an easily frightened woman, how do you feel about Mr. Steve Martin visiting your country? Enough said. Welcome to Godzillavangelists, episode 2. Today, we're talking about
Is that a Godzilla? I heard a Godzilla in the background, Ryan. Did you hear that?
Just a little tiny one.
More of a door creak, to be honest. But
It's a little dying Godzilla.
one thing,
Anyway.
I don't mean to. Here's how bad my memory is. The whole time I forgot Steve Martin was like the name of the actor or character of the American in the film, and I just kept thinking that we were going to be doing actual Steve Martin impressions. Please move on.
You didn't think that I sounded just like...
Excuse me.
I might like to have the other Steve Martin come hang out, but anyways, moving on.
Oh,
so
Steve
this-
Martin, the guy who was in the Pink Panther remake.
You know him, Steve
Yeah.
Martin.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you know.
So this makes some sense. If you didn't watch the American version of Godzilla,
What are you doing with your life?
Yes.
Because it is the
Pish
best.
posh.
But the main character, his name is Steve Martin, which is rather amusing because there is a well-known comedian that also goes by that name.
Star of the Pink Panther and Looney Tunes back in action.
And nothing else, as far as I'm aware.
No, I don't think so.
No. But let's be honest. Even if the real Steve Martin, the beloved Steve Martin, was in Godzilla King of the Monsters, I still don't think that he would beat out the amazingness that is Raymond Burr. By amazing, I mean wonderfully terrible.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
no way would other Steve be able to pull it off.
Right, because Raymond Burr is no slouch. However, he brings such little effort to his role. I mean, he just sleepwalks. I think I said that earlier. He just sleeps through the entire movie. And kind of shrugs off a lot of monster attacks.
I think, honestly, the entire filming took him about a week. They said, here's the deal. We're going to put you in front of a green screen. We're going to put you into multiple scenes, but it will just still be just you standing in front of this green screen. So we're literally going to be done in 3 days.
Oh, yeah. No, like one afternoon.
And he made
he was out.
$1.7 million, so that was impressive.
In 50s money.
Yeah, in 50s money.
Well, you're not that far off the mark. To be the nerd, he did
Bring it.
put in a few more days than that, but it was definitely not a strenuous job. And you're absolutely right that he looks like he is professionally sedated. and not in a fun way.
He was smoking a pipe in many circumstances where it was not necessary, and it illogical. But good for him. He was a relaxed
This
dude.
is true.
He was fazed by nothing.
There's a point in the big attack on Tokyo, you know, where there's like the reporter, the Japanese reporter who's like reporting to his death, and he's like, you know, on the tower, and he's like yelling, and then the tower goes down. In that scene, there's a similar tower with Steve Martin in it, and he's just sitting there smoking his pipe, and they sprayed some sweat water on his face to make it like he's really nervous, but he clearly was like, no, I'm not moving. And so they were like, well, all right, at least give him sweat. Like, you're nervous, right? And he's like, nah. And so he just sits there, and they've just like sprayed his face to the point where like he glistens like the bottom side of a trout.
Yes, that's exactly what I thought while we were watching.
Oh, good, we're on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
You're too right. He's just like, I think the most he puts into like looking scared at any point is like a slightly widened right eye, which makes him look more inquisitive than anything.
Yeah, see, sometimes he'd drop his mouth open, like, in surprise, but then it was just like, nope, he was opening it to put his pipe in. I thought for a second, I'm like, he's scared. But no.
Well, let's take it back a bit.
Yeah.
So, if you didn't watch this, the story is basically the same as the Japanese version in the broadest strokes, but the way it feels is completely different. So we'll go through the story again, but we're going to take it pretty quickly this time because it essentially goes the same way. But you'll come out of it with a very different appreciation of it, I feel like. So the movie does begin differently. This one starts out with the hospital scene, with that very touching hospital scene. And they put it right at the beginning, and they talk over it, so the effect is absolutely ruined, pretty much.
Lost
This is
entirely.
me, Steve Martin. Oh, sorry, I was doing him talking over it.
Here at the hospital. Yep.
Pay no attention to these bodies. They are all dead Japanese people, and I am the main character. Here I am.
Yep.
On my way to Cairo, I got sidetracked in Tokyo.
Honestly,
He mentions that so much. Like,
So-
every 15 minutes,
Like,
he's like,
we get
I was
it, man.
on my way to Cairo.
Your friend was having a cool party. You were late. We don't know how to help you.
in case you guys didn't notice this, I did not mean to be in this country. It so happened that I was, and here I am.
It's true. He hates almost everything about Japan. I
And-
think
Yeah.
the only time he comes across as, like, mildly happy is when he's talking to Dr. Sarazawa on the phone, which is a weird scene in and of itself.
Yeah, and
Yes.
oh yeah, it's so weird that they're friends. Like, it just doesn't. It's why. And how does he, like, insert himself into every significant event, like political event, or what might be thought of as more kind of a secretive, let's not just have everyone in, especially this big, annoying, obnoxious American man. But he's there. He makes it in every time.
Well, this might be a good time for me to share my fan theory about this, right? Because essentially, he's kind of in the corner, throughout the entire film, right? He's watching the action from like the corner of the room,
Right.
and clearly they shot, they like built a little set. And they, filmed, like built a set that kind of matched sort of the lighting, and then they kind of put him in along with security officer Tomo, right? And and he like Tomo will kind of interpret to him, and he'll be like, "What is this man saying?" And then he'll be like, "He's saying Godzilla killed several people, and we should all be interested." And he'll be like, nah, I won't be. And like that leads me to believe that the beginning, which is supposedly a flashback. So we open on the hospital, we flashback, movie begins. I think the hospital, those are separate attacks. And Steve Martin died in that first hospital attack. Right?
Whoa.
Bear with me. And he died, and Tomo can see dead people like Haley Joel Osment. And hold on, I'm going somewhere with this. Right, so this explains why he can't interact with basically anyone. And when he does, like, he's not really interacting with them. He thinks he is, but it's kind of like Bruce Willis's ex-wife.
No one's looking at him.
No, they like he's kind of speaking toward them, and but they're not really responding. And Tomo, is basically so. Hold on, let me start over with that. I'm going somewhere great. So Steve Martin, his like unfinished purpose was to help rid them of Godzilla. Like that was why he's still a ghost in kind of ghost purgatory. And Tomo is like the Haley Joel Osment who gets to kind of help him along.
My only reason I don't like it is because that makes Steve Martin, like, closer to being the hero, which I'm not sure that I want to give that to him.
Oh, he's absolutely the hero.
However, Tomo has no emotion the entire film. So if Steve Martin is a ghost and he's just like down with it, he did a great job of being like, this is just who I am. I can see these ghosts. They're helping me out.
Honestly, this has a lot of credence to it because basically there are some shots where the American filmmakers try to make it look like Steve Martin is talking to the other characters, but we only see them from the back. So it's entirely possible, because we don't see their eye focus, that they could be talking to someone behind Steve Martin.
Yeah, and he's such a self-absorbed ghost that he just thinks they're talking to him.
Yeah, he's like...
And he doesn't realize he's dead.
He's like, wait, side note, Emiko, right? Not Emiko?
Yes.
Okay. He's like, Emiko, thank God you came to see me at the hospital. It's like, Steve, like, she's not there to see you. That's not why she came.
And I mean, the only hole in the theory...
There is none.
Zero.
No, the only hole is when he talks to Dr. Serizawa on the phone. There's definitely something happening there. How would you explain that away in your fan fiction?
I would say Serizawa is speaking to someone on the phone. Mm-hmm. Someone who's not him.
Yeah, easy.
He's just talking to his phone. Talking to it.
His fake ghosty phone.
Honestly, I see. So they're two unrelated scenes, but they're edited in such a way that we're tricked into believing they're talking to each other.
Yes, because honestly, here's a question: what is more believable, that is the case, or that these two characters are longtime chums who went to school together?
You have a good point. In what world does a Japanese super talented like physicist go to college with an American reporter from Chicago? It is completely bizarre. And yes, the dialogue explicitly says they're old college buddies. It is the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty strange. More strange than them just not actually speaking on the phone. They're separate conversations.
Oh my god. I'm convinced.
I'm glad I brought you around on this.
I'm completely on board with this idea.
Wow, that was impressive. Props to you, Snaps.
Thank you. That's honestly why I'm here.
But let's suppose let's work with the movie we have in front of us. Let's go with the text as opposed to the rich subtext.
All right.
I suppose.
Just for a moment. So yeah, we watched this right on the heels of watching the Japanese version, and so this line really stuck in my craw. I'm gonna do my best Emiko impression. Get ready. She says, "Oh, Steve, what brought this upon us?" And it just, it's the worst clunker, because you're like, this is so insulting that she's going up to this random white dude and is like, you've got to make this make sense to me.
It's so awful, especially again because in the first film she had way more of a part in things than I thought she was going to, and was very glad about that. And then Steve just comes in and messes everything up.
Oh yeah.
Actually, to add to this, I have a note here. It's actually the first note that I wrote in my notes, and it is,
So
and I quote, "Steve Martin is a tonal boner killer," and I think that hits the nail on the head, because basically, any amount of interest you have in anything that's happening ever is completely tossed aside if a man who actually can't interact with anyone and doesn't care what he's doing is the one who basically is causing all things to happen. I mean, I kind of love it. I mean, it's not good.
It's a fan favorite.
Yeah, like there's something. It's kind of like a weird, like serious version of What's Up, Tiger Lily, or something. Like they tried to reimagine a movie retroactively and re-edited it and filmed a bunch of stuff to basically change your angle entirely. And and I love like when they incorrectly interpret lines or dub over them with different dialogue.
Right.
I'm a big fan of that. Or like in some of those kind of those meetings where everyone's discussing what's going on with Godzilla, they'll leave it in Japanese, and then his voiceover will pop in and be like, "I couldn't tell what the man was saying, but basically Emiko had something important to do." And it's like, she did. That's not what he was saying. He was saying something about the bomb, and you're cutting that out because you're the one who dropped the bomb.
Yeah. I also would have preferred subtitles. Yeah, they got rid of that whole argument between the statesmen or whoever they were, that guy and that lady. Yeah,
the discussion in the Diet, which I still don't know if I'm pronouncing right, but yeah, between the legislators, basically. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is cut except for a tiny portion that goes untranslated.
I think I would have preferred just subtitles even, but I don't think they would have done that. But
no, not at all back then. I mean, yeah, that's the thing, is that as subpar as it looks from a judgmental eye now, they actually put some budget behind making the Steve Martin scenes. It's not on a complete shoestring. They attempted to make it look like it matched, but the problem is that it's just it makes no sense, except from a racist point of view where you felt like an American audience couldn't identify with Japanese characters. Which, I don't know, maybe that was true for the time, sadly, but today it just doesn't work at all.
Yeah, it's quite aggressive and oh, okay, this is happening. He's gonna be the narrator and the hero, and he's gonna just do everything for them.
Yeah, I mean, another one of those really telling moments is Godzilla's first appearance on Odo Island. Everybody runs and screams, except Steve Martin.
For Steve Martin, yeah.
No, he's perfectly calm.
I believe he literally puts his pipe in his mouth during that scene.
He does. He absolutely. He lights it. In fact, he sees Godzilla, and he lights his pipe.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, I already kind of said this. I alluded to this, but at one point he does. I think it's our good friend Tomo says, "What would you say if I told you that man saw Godzilla?" And then our friend Steve says, "I'd say he's had too much sake."
Oh, God, it's so bad.
Where to start with that?
Oh, my God, I forgot about that one. Ooh.
Yeah. I don't think a single non-condescending line comes out of his mouth if he's talking to a Japanese person. Which actually ties into, one of the few, genuinely well-acted moments, I think, when he's flying in the helicopter with Tomo towards the beginning of the movie. There's a cute moment where he sees all the men in the helicopter are crossing their arms. So he, crosses his arms very purposely and gives Tomo, a smug smile. It's, it's a little cute, kind of genuine moment. But then you're like, but wait a minute, you're still being, really smug and condescending. so to leave Steve behind for just a moment, what did you guys think of the dubbing?
I was just bad.
It wasn't unusually bad dubbing. What was amazing, actually, is it probably was the least I've noticed dubbing because there was so much else going on that was crazy.
Right.
I think it was hard for me because, I really loved the professor in the first one. Not the professor.
Uh-huh.
What is his
Dr.
title?
Yamane.
Yeah. Is he a professor?
Not necessarily.
Or just
He's definitely a doctor.
I guess
May not be
the
a
way that
professor.
he was showing people things, I thought he might be a teacher of sorts. But whoever was dubbing for him just didn't sound as intellectual and soothing. And so then I was just sad.
His dubbing is hilarious.
Yeah.
He sounds like drunk Elmer Fudd.
Which one's this?
The guy who dubs Dr. Yamane.
Oh, yes.
In particular, every time he says the word phenomenon, he says it incorrectly. He says phenomenon
Yeah.
every single time.
Wait, what word was that again?
It's
Phenomenon.
supposed to be phenomenon. You know I love the Muppets.
You.
That's how you get to the core of my heart, Sam. Godzilla and Muppets. That's all.
I try. You know what's sad is when you first said phenomenon, that's all I could think of.
I honestly, that was incredible.
I love to overpronounce the word because it's just a nice word. It bounces off your tongue like a baby rattle. Phenomenal.
Does a baby rattle bounce off your tongue?
I don't know.
Ryan, what do you do with baby rattles?
It's
I
my
don't
thing, you
think they
guys.
do.
Don't judge.
Oh, okay. No judge.
No judge. Not quite as amazing, but pretty good is when the dub artist also says Brontosaurus instead of Brontosaurus.
Do you think they maybe just thought that was how it was pronounced back then?
With a silent T.
Brontosaurus?
No, Brontosaurus.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Sounds like you're being a real Steve Martin to me, Sam.
Ooh.
What this simpleton couldn't tell was that I said Brontosaurus as I smoke my pipe and sit here and think racist thoughts.
Luckily, I had packed enough pipes for my layover on my way to Cairo that my pipes lasted throughout the entire journey of me saving Japan from Godzilla.
Right. We get to see one of his bags go through security, and we see 0 pipes, so I have to assume the other suitcase was entirely pipes.
Only pipes.
Yes.
Right. That's how I travel.
That's the cutscene I want to see from this movie. I'd be okay with watching this one as long as they had a shot of just
Collecting his
like
pipes.
X-ray scanning the suitcase, and it's just nothing but pipes.
You don't understand. I keep one bag of pipes at all times. You know, in case I get stranded in somewhere I don't want to go.
Like the god-awful region of Japan. Was Cairo somehow more palatable than Tokyo at the time?
You know,
It's hard to imagine from today's perspective.
maybe he likes hating places. And he was
I do know
really
people
excited
like
to go there and just point out the flaws of the country.
I do know people like that, so you may not be entirely wrong.
I was getting kind of a Casablanca vibe from him in Cairo.
Ah, that might be it. He might have this romantic...
He had a gal in mind. Because Steve, he's not going there to do work. He sent
absolutely
2
not.
reports back to the States.
Of course not.
I was old college buddies with a camel down there. Can you imagine? Can you imagine a world where Raymond Burr plays Indiana Jones?
Was that ever going to be a thing?
No, but he was going to Cairo, and I can only assume it was searching for treasure.
Wait, Ryan, I do have one question for you.
Yeah.
Who do you think, Steve Martin? Which guy do you think he would have had a crush on? Like, you know me, I am... like, my favorite male figure of the film is, of course, Emiko's dad.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a good question. Wait,
Well,
okay. For the listeners, Raymond Burr was deeply closeted. We're playing matchmaker right here for Steve Martin.
Right. I feel bad for him that he didn't get to be himself in his lifetime.
Yeah.
So we're gonna give him a little gift from beyond the grave. This might be the obvious choice, but I'm going to go with Tomo.
Yes.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but in the scene where their tent is being knocked over by the wind, he reaches over at one point and holds Tomo's shoulder just to make sure that he's okay and make sure that he's still there. That was a very touching moment for me. I think that they have a cute little, like, whenever I'm in Tokyo, look me up kind of thing going on.
Yeah, they got a good little rapport going. Tomo always knows when he needs to fill Steve in. He always knows when he needs to inform him or when he's just going to let Steve sit there and hang back in the background.
I don't know if you intended this, but
I did not intend it like that. I did. Full disclaimer. I did not in any way intend that to be anything other than me speaking about language.
But you know what?
Thank
We're
you.
all glad it happened.
I can see Joanna right now. She's like all red and sweaty. She's got some fantasies bouncing around her head. I know what's going on.
Sweaty like the underside of a trout.
Do you have any alternate proposals for Steve Martin's boyfriend?
Yeah, you know, just only because I really want both of them to find love, I would say Steve Martin and the old man on the island who wants to sacrifice virgins to kill Godzilla.
You love that guy.
He is a dream.
They do share a hatred of everything and everyone around them.
That's what I'm saying.
There's something there. Almost all of the beautiful moments from the original are either gone or compromised in some way. And a lot of the exciting moments are still there because that's obviously what they wanted. They wanted the monster action, but it doesn't work nearly as well without it.
No, and it's so wrong-headed that you have this amazing scene, you know, like where Godzilla tears down some power lines, and then you just have a main character, because he's the main character, unfortunately. They set him up to be he's the one who causes everything to happen in the end somehow, and it opens the movie, and he's so unfazed by everything.
Yeah. Well, and by placing him as this narrator, they just get rid of any layers of intricacy and detail that they had, and all the intimate moments because of the love triangle and the father-daughter relationship. All of it is just completely blown over by Mr. Steve.
Mr. Steve.
Mr. Steve. Well, since you mentioned it, do you want to go to the ending? There's a couple big changes in the ending.
Let's do it.
So one of them is that when we finally flash forward to the hospital, there's a big change. Instead of Emiko being touched by the tragedy around her and wanting to find some way to help, Steve Martin explicitly says to Emiko, like, oh, you've got to find a way. You've got to persuade Serizawa to use the oxygen destroyer. And it's just the ultimate insult.
Right,
It's
instead of
like,
her
all
being
right.
the cat. Yeah. Such an insult. It was painful to watch.
Unless you realize they weren't speaking at all.
Right. And she was
Of
maybe
course.
talking to herself in that moment and coming to that realization. I'm
Yeah.
okay with that.
More, honestly, again, more feasible. Just saying.
You're right. I was just about to say, like, I don't know why Emiko would be taking her fiance's old college roommate's opinion so strongly. And so finally, at the very end of the movie, to their credit, most of the tragic tone is retained. You know, you still get Serizawa's sacrifice, but when at the very end you get that bleak message from Dr. Yamane where he explicitly warns against more nuclear testing.
Right.
Instead, we get Steve Martin saying, "At last, the world could wake up and live again. Everything's fine. Nothing's wrong. Nukes are great."
Yep. Just keep as is. You're doing great, America. No worries.
Any last thoughts on Godzilla, King of the Monsters?
I will be going as Steve Martin for Halloween. So.
Oh my god, I would love that.
Yeah.
What does that costume entail?
I mean, it's quite simple. Starts with the pipe. Add the jacket. Add an empty suitcase. A ticket to Cairo. It's very simple.
Are you gonna pour glistening oil over your face?
No, I'm going to be the calm version of him.
Fresh off the plane, Steve Martin.
Yes.
And make sure your boyfriend goes as Tomo.
Oh. I would ship you guys so hard.
Alright, guys. This may be a tough one, but who would you recommend this movie to?
I wouldn't.
Ooh,
No,
cold.
listen. It's just not fun. It's not. And it's a tonal boner killer. It sounds fun, because here we are just poking fun at old lifeless face Steve Martin. But it's not that fun of a watch. Especially having seen the Japanese version, which actually is pretty engaging. And I shouldn't say it like that. It is engaging. So no, I wouldn't. I can't think of anyone to recommend it to, so I'm gonna hold off and say nobody. No one, don't go see this.
I might recommend it to, like, a grandpa. And it's 3 in the afternoon. And he's probably going to fall asleep watching it in his chair. And it's on channel 987 of his TV guide. I might say, "Sure, Grandpa. Put it on."
You know what? You're right. This is a good
that
grandpa
is-
3 in the afternoon movie.
Grandpa napping movie. That's what it is. But that's about it. Otherwise, no.
What are other grandpa napping movies?
High Noon. No, that's a good movie.
Oh, so it has to be a bad movie.
See, listen, there aren't a lot. That's why we need to fill the gap for these
You know
grandpas.
what? High Noon still works. High Noon is a good movie, but it's also a good grandpa napping movie.
Any old Western film.
Yeah, pretty much. I feel like this movie's the underdog now, and I gotta stick up for it just a little bit.
What?
Racist.
You guys aren't wrong, but this is how I and a lot of people saw this movie for the first time. And although it tries its best to hide what's cool about the original Godzilla, it can't hide it completely. It still shines through a little bit. And you know whose favorite Godzilla movie this is?
Steven Soderbergh.
Mr. Steven Spielberg.
What?
Yep.
Ugh. What?
I don't have the quote in front of me, but I believe he said Godzilla was the best of the dinosaur movies because it made you believe that it was really happening.
I believed in The Land Before Time when I was a child.
Well, he made that movie thanks to Steve Martin.
No, now I don't like it.
You can't get away from it.
No.
Everyone who loves Jurassic Park owes a debt to Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
This is a disappointing turn.
Yes.
I see
this
it.
This is a darker ending than the original Godzilla.
Gosh, so true.
Yeah.
What a bummer. I wonder if you watch Raiders of the Lost Ark really closely, if you can see Steve Martin like walking through the background in Cairo.
Yeah, because Steve Martin isn't like sporty at all, though.
No. But actually, fun fact is Indiana Jones used to be... It was just a movie about Nazis and locals in Egypt, and then they shot scenes with Harrison Ford and added them later.
Wow.
Oh, that makes
It's so
sense
seamless.
now. Wow.
Yeah, but
They
if you
did a
watch
great
for
job.
it, yeah, it's pretty obvious that it's just the backs
You know
of
what?
people's heads.
This makes sense. It explains why he doesn't interact with the Ark at the end at all.
Yeah, they honestly, originally they were going to have him do it, and then they were like, you know what? Harrison Ford doesn't feel like it. He wants to smoke his pipe, so just have him close his eyes. He suggested it.
Smart.
Thanks.
All right. Are you guys ready?
Wait, do we have to roar today? I forget.
No, we roared last time.
Oh, we're not.
Do we have to roar today?
No, this
Sorry, wait.
is the...
We're not going to roar every time?
Dad, do we have to roar today?
We're not going to roar every time?
Joanna, we can absolutely roar if you would like to.
Daddy Ryan, I don't like it if we don't roar.
We're not going to roar.
Look, you've hurt Joanna's feelings.
This is adorable, and it's breaking my heart. So let's start roaring, okay?
Only all together.
Come on. All right, son. All right, daughter.
I can't be loud because my roommates are asleep.
All right. On the count of three.
It can be a really
On the count of
quiet. It can be a really sensitive
It'll
roar.
be a little pipsqueak.
like that little creak roar.
Yeah, it'll be a door creak.
All right, on the count of three. 1, 2, 3. That was not my finest roar.
Really, I felt great. I feel much better now. Like, I'll sleep peacefully knowing I got that out.
I feel like our morale is higher.
I
Totally.
think so.
Are you ready, my friends, for the first semi-monthly Academy of Giant Monster Arts and Sciences Awards?
That was applause.
So, like any good award show, we're going to debate the choices right now in front of the audience. So, starting with the category Best Use of Steve Martin.
Is this multiple choice?
No, you propose a choice to the Academy,
Right.
and we will decide.
I will propose best use of Steve Martin as Steve proposing to Emiko that she needed to go and do something about Godzilla because it really just crushed any moment she could have. It completely flipped the other film on its head, and he really just took it and ran with it. You know, he made himself a hero in that moment, and I think that's very brave and bold of him.
Whoa.
I do agree. I will vote for your choice.
Whoa,
However-
wait, I haven't even proposed mine yet.
Well, you're going to
least-
have to work up.
Sorry, my speech was really good.
You know what? Fine. Dark horse candidate right now. I'd have to say it's, and I quote, I'd say he's had too much sake.
Oh,
Ooh,
Damn.
good
That's
contender. Good contender.
that's really
This
good.
could be the La La Land versus Moonlight.
That's really good.
Of
I'm absolutely the La La Land in this scenario.
I might vote for Sam's. Is that bad? Ryan,
They're
do
both
you
so
have one?
beautiful.
Do you have
but
one?
in the end, I'm going to vote for. I think he's had too much sake.
Absolutely. That's the right
Da, da, da.
Are you just
Wait,
breathing into
wait.
the mic? Are you just like,
Yeah, that's a crowd.
wow? It's
Or someone with a respiratory disorder.
right.
Would
Whoa, is
Steve
that
Martin,
a crowd applauding?
Would Steve Martin like to accept his award?
I suppose. Listen. Sasha Malia, listen up.
Stop.
I didn't try very hard, but I feel like I really did something special. And I suppose I'm off to Cairo now. So thanks for this, but no thanks, suckers.
And,
Drop the mic.
I imagine he drops the award and pisses on it thereafter.
Oh, pisses on it.
All right, Joanna, you got to do the sound that would make. That was very effective.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
He was holding it for a long time.
All right, second category. Best actor.
Tomo.
Is this in a leading role?
Yes. Well, any role. If there is a bit part player who draws your eye, feel free to nominate.
I say Tomo because if we thought that Steve never made an emotional peep in the whole film, Tomo made even fewer of them.
Well, I do want to say this is across both versions.
Oh, no.
Oh, this is good. This is to my favor. You're stuck with Tomo.
No, I'm not.
You can take back Tomo.
take it back.
I'll let you. I do love Takashi Shimura. I respect them immensely, but I think that the writing for Dr. Yamane is a little bit lacking. So
That's true.
I know it's just about the performance, but overall, I think Akihiko Hirata, who played Dr. Serizawa, I think overall he comes off the best. I think you can really see the struggle going on within him. I like it.
I don't know. He was a little dramatic for my taste.
You're not wrong.
I get
what's
he
your
had a lot
nomination?
of... I mean...
What's your nomination? Security Officer Tomo?
I don't know. Sam, you go first.
All right, well, I was hoping to go last on this, but I am actually nominating Security Officer Tomo. And my reasoning is very simple. All of his scenes are bouncing off of a complete wooden plank that is Raymond Burr, and he comes off perfectly likable. You know what I mean?
It's true.
Likeable, but also like a plank, but like a much more likable one. I don't know how he does it. It is pretty
You
impressive.
know, one of those planks you like.
Right.
Yeah.
Raymond Burr is like a old, hard, gnarled piece of like driftwood, and Tomo is like a fresh, springy piece of plywood ready to go into the treehouse.
He's the treehouse that I am nominating for this award.
I accept your nomination. Joanna, your choice.
You know, I am going back and forth now, kind of, between Akihiko and Takashi Shimura. Or am I... Like, you might be right, because his scenes are a little less corny.
Yeah.
No, I gotta go with Dr. Yamane, because that scene where he tells her to turn off the light is still my favorite scene.
Fair enough. Fair enough. If only to end the deadlock, I'll come over to your side.
Oh my gosh!
Wait,
Well,
so you're the chooser and you nominated one, and you didn't choose the one you nominated.
I chose yours last time.
You can feel free to switch your vote to something you didn't nominate.
Oh, so we're voting for our own.
No, you get to vote for whichever one you want.
Oh,
Biden.
well, I'm sticking with Tomo.
Listen, listen, because all the great many ways he speaks to all the people, it's just beautiful.
By a vote of 2-1, Takashi Shimura as Dr. Kyohei Yamane is the winner. Really need to get that guy an oxygen tank.
Let's both go at once. I want to know what it sounds like. Sam, on the count of 3, make your audience noise. 1, 2, 3. Nope. I'm satisfied. We can move on.
I'm impressed. Getting down to the last couple categories here. Coolest moment. What do you guys think?
Godzilla putting his little arm over that hill.
The delicate little chicken wing.
So cute. I just want to pet him.
And we're going to close out the awards this year with Best Line.
With what?
Best line. Honestly,
Well-
Sam, I think you could nominate the same Steve Martin line.
Yeah.
However, I'm not going to, because I came to play this round.
Ooh,
And
all
my
right.
nominee is, thank goodness at least 3 survived.
Oh, he loves that line.
You
I
really
do.
love it.
I love it. At least 3.
This strikes me as a
would take that line
nepotistic
homecoming.
pick. A highly personal pick, at the very least.
Maybe. Call it my Marissa Tomei.
That's good. I am going to go for this wouldn't have happened in the old days when we used to sacrifice a virgin every year.
Oh, that was my second pick. That was very good.
Yes.
Maybe not a winner, but very good. Up in the air.
Absolutely.
That
Do you
was
have
the up
one,
in the air
Joanna?
of this year.
I love when he tells her to turn off the light, but kind of in a flip, like looking at it from a different perspective, the "we're going to be with daddy soon" line really shook me up to the point where I think I laughed almost in the moment because it was so horrifying and I didn't expect it. So that line had quite an impact on me.
I'll come over to you. So we'll let that be the winner.
This little game is so easy.
Would you like to give us your best reading, Joanna?
Ryan, so
Close
easily
us out?
persuaded. I think it was in Japanese, so I don't want. But what her eyes said was, "It's okay. We'll be with daddy soon." And then the kids cried.
Was that the kids crying?
That's how they sounded.
Yes,
Just-
that was the kids crying as they were being disintegrated by
Ah.
Godzilla's nuclear breath.
Oh, wait. Okay, do that again.
No,
That was me trying to cry.
You're not allowed to put that in.
Oh, wait. That's a cry.
Tune in next time for the second semi-monthly Academy of Giant Monster Arts and Sciences Awards. Okay, this is a segment I like to call Magical Sam and Mystic Joanna, where I force my friends to guess what the next movie's going to be like.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I'm going to give you a few basic facts about the next movie.
Okay.
And just from those, you have to come up with a short synopsis of what is going to happen.
Yep.
So, it's called Godzilla Raids Again. It's from 1955, the very next year after the original Godzilla. And it took 4 years to come to America in 1959 and was called Gigantus, the Fire Monster there. And so with those facts in mind, not cheating, not looking anything up, lay it on me. What's going to happen in Godzilla Raids Again?
I think that Godzilla is going to come back to life under the water because the oxygen bomb wasn't actually as effective as we thought. In fact, it made it stronger. And also all the other fish in the sea that died because of it have now all formed into one great conglomerated Godzilla. And he comes out of the sea and he's even madder than before and he's flinging fish everywhere. And he doesn't just get tired and go back in the ocean like he did before. Like, he is out of the water for days at a time, just going all the way up. And then at one point, he's climbing a mountain and there's snow, and then they create an avalanche and it covers him, and then he dies.
There is a certain aspect to that is eerily accurate to the point where I wonder if you cheated in some way.
I promise you, I
No,
did
it's just
not.
her magic cap.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's my baseball cap. It's my rally cap.
It's really good. Get ready to see that prediction pay off.
All right.
Sam.
If you thought that paid off, I like that she was pretty close, so I feel like I have no reason to try to be accurate. So here's what happens, right? Gigantus the fire monster. This is 1977, 20 years later. Gigantus the fire monster wipes out Tokyo. Just wipes it out. But
I like how you're going with the American version, by the way. Just had to say that.
I'm sorry? Oh, well, that's what they call them in both versions.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Now, after the oxygen destroyer thing, that whole snafu in the original, they actually froze Godzilla's bones. And then 1978 rolls around, Tokyo's been destroyed, but one scientist thaws the bones, and they've developed technology to be able to kind of Jurassic Park Godzilla back together, and then they send him back in time. Ooh. So that to 1955. I'm sorry, 1954, right? Yeah, 1954. And he, in parallel with himself in 1955, he tries to prevent Steve Martin from setting everything in motion to kill him, because he himself in 55 version is the only thing that can stop Gigantus the fire monster in 77. And so what happens is, actually, he, like, you know, when the big attack happens on the island, you know, and there's the little toy helicopter gets destroyed, that was actually back in time Godzilla, and he broke in to whisper some kind of like sweet dream hints into Steve Martin's ear to be like, hey, tell Emiko to use the oxygen destroyer Serizawa's developed, because actually that oxygen destroyer doesn't kill Godzilla's, and he was faking it, and they threw some bones in there, and he was actually alive because of time travel, and then he, alternate timeline, saves the day from the fire monster.
Whoa. I was never going to beat that, to be honest, if I'm completely frank.
No, there's, you know, I had other questions I was going to ask you guys, but I'm very tempted just to stop here, because I don't think it gets any better.
I think so.
Because I was right? That's how it goes.
You know what does happen in Godzilla Raids Again that you guys should get excited about? For the first time of many, Godzilla fights another monster.
Oh, nice. I thought we were just waiting one more movie for that. Ooh.
Nope. We get right into it. He mixes it up with a monster named Angelus.
Yes.
The fire monster.
Perfect. Well, then I'm excited for that.
So yeah, as we've been saying, guys, next time we're going to be talking about Godzilla Raids Again. So if you want to follow along, go check it out. I think you can rent it on Amazon pretty cheaply. And I hope you do go check it out, because it would be fun to have you guys watch along with us, and we'd love to hear what you thought of the movie if you want to send us a message. But until next time, everybody, may you never have a layover in Tokyo. Godzillavangelists, a Geek Stew Network podcast, is brought to you by me, Ryan Sargent, and my friends Joanna Brodecki and Sam Schlenker. We'd like to thank our editor and mixer, Zachary Stanton Savitz. All our incredible music is composed by Robert Mai, and our wonderful artwork is drawn by Cassidy Stone. Our social media was coordinated with style by Lauren Sargent. We'd like to give special thanks to our families, to Michelle Delgado, and to the wonderful artists who made the movies that we talked about today. Godzillavangelists is a satirical, critical work not affiliated or endorsed by Toho, Legendary Pictures, or anyone behind the Godzilla series. Visit our website at godzillavangelists.com. We're on Twitter at GodzillaVangelists, and also Instagram, also at GodzillaVangelists. Check out our SoundCloud and YouTube channel as well. Thank you so much for listening, and we hope you join us next episode. In the meantime, keep spreading the word of Godzilla.